7 now on Daybreak, and this morning we are remembering the arrival of a new sport that took off like wildfire, plus Martha Stewart to the Slammer and a concert for the ages.
Dave McKinley has our weekly walk back through time when those stories and more were all news to you.
10 years ago this week when Bill's camp opened and we pinned our hopes on E.J. Manuel to Sammy Watkins. 2 years after it was installed, that traffic timer sign on the 290 still wasn't working. They cut the ribbon on the Tift Pier on the Outer Harbor, where nearby plans were announced for a solar farm at the former Bethlehem Steel. At 20 acres, it would have been the largest in the state at the time, as opposed to today when some solar farms are measured in square miles. The first organized pickleball tournament to ever be held in Western New York was underway. As one of these healthy seniors told us, and we quote, "It's the most fun you can have and keep your clothes on." And here's how the current president looked and sounded
repercussions that can flow from this beyond the tragic loss of life.
Just a decade ago, this week in 2014. 20 years ago this week was not a good week for Martha Stewart, sentenced to 5 months in prison for her conviction on security fraud-related crimes. And speaking of courts, after a judge ruled the Sedicas could not build their third Western New York casino near the airport in Cheektowaga as they wanted to, they began rolling the dice on other locations, including the Convention Center, DL&W Terminal, the Central Terminal, the Statler, the Inner Harbor, the Outer Harbor.
Round and round and round it goes. Where it ends up, nobody knows.
Before finally settling on the Cobblestone District. And here's some blasts from the past, a bevy of TV shows from the era, and the actors and actresses who starred in them, all of which and whom were nominated for Emmys this week in 2004. 30 years ago this week.
We're looking for the Bills home opener right now.
He was kidding. What he and about 50,000 other people were at Rich Stadium for was a concert. Maybe you were there too. This week's News to You pop quiz, who do you think was packing them in despite what at the time was an ungodly price for tickets? This week in 1994. Remember, this was back when King Charles was Prince Charles. It looked like this. When two on your side legal analyst Barry Covert looked more like this. And when Governor Kathy Hochul looked like this, while glowingly endorsing a fellow Democrat for an open assembly seat.
I think Steve has proven himself legislatively.
She was talking about Steve Pigeon, who at the time looked like this, but now looks more like this. And it was a week of change at the Niagara Falls Air Reserve Base.
The F-16s are gone. In their place, this KC-135 Stratotanker.
As the mission of the 107 switched from fighting to refueling this week in 1994, when it was all news to you.
And here's the answer to this week's News to You pop quiz. That big concert that brought 50,000 plus fans to Rich Stadium 30 years ago this week. Billy Joel and Elton John. It was the first time the two piano men ever toured together, and Buffalo got just the second show in that tour. The two came out on stage and announced, "We are BJ and EJ, and we are here to take your mind off OJ." As the O.J. Simpson case was dominating news coverage at the time. By the way, the most expensive ticket to see that duet perform back then was a staggering $50.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I spent 3 times that to see Metallica.
Don't let the sun go down on me, though. Great song with the two of them performing together.
Yeah.
Love that.
That's a great song.
Yeah.
And there's a great